Now, we know a couple of weeks ago there was some major water infrastructure repairs up here in Johannesburg, and it looks like it's going to be the turn of Cape Town. The City of Cape Town's Water and Sanitation Department going to be doing planned maintenance. It's going to result in water supply disruptions in some areas. It's the main water supply that's going to be turned off from tomorrow, I understand, at various times in various areas. Of course, going to impact areas like Simonstown, Brooklyn and Sandrift as well. Let's try and get you some more details, Cape Town. And good morning to the city's MMC for Water and Sanitation, Zahid Badroodien, making time for me this morning. Hi, Zahid. Good to have you with us. So give me a sense, all on track for tomorrow, I understand. How big an impact is this going to have on the city of Cape Town?
So on a weekly basis, the city communicates to its residents the planned maintenance. So this is not a major type of operation as you've described. Instead, it's planned works to take place across a number of communities, and three of them, as you've mentioned, include Simonstown, where we'll be replacing an old water pipeline, linking in the new water pipeline, and then also in a number of other areas where we'll be doing normal maintenance valve repair. And so ultimately what we're saying to our city and to our residents is that investing in our water infrastructure is a no-brainer. It is a commitment that we've made to our residents, and just this past financial year, we've replaced about 50,000 meters of both sewer and water pipeline infrastructure, and we're expanding that program to almost 100 kilometers this financial year, if not more. And this is significant investment that's not cheap, if you will. We're investing about 800 million rand in these pipe replacements this year. And what we are further noting is the fact that we don't want to be caught off guard when it comes to these kinds of infrastructure maintenance programs, where we are reactively responding to pipe bursts or pipe collapses, but rather investing in the infrastructure now so that we can prevent these bursts and these collapses going into the future.
Yeah, it's because we had the same sort of situation up here in Johannesburg as well, and the maintenance was done, and I'm going to ask you just to remind us of the areas that are going to be affected as well, because even though it might be near a specific pump station, it's always an issue further down that water line as well, because some of the concern here in Johannesburg wasn't just the maintenance, it was how long it took for the system to come back online, to essentially get refilled to 100% again. What's the concerns there? What's your timeline?
Naturally, it's the nature of the business where sometimes operational factors result in longer time frames than what is anticipated. But what's important to us is that when we, as a city, realize that things may not be smooth sailing in terms of the repair, that we communicate through our councillors, through media statements, and directly through social media to our residents as well. And so the work being done in Simonstown, where the pipes to be replaced, is a simple program. It's the removal of the old pipe and the insertion of the new pipe. But we obviously very careful when it comes to these kinds of replacements, because the recharging of the pipeline needs to be done very slowly so that it doesn't result in significant pressures, which could then result in a secondary burst. And then the other areas that we're working on this week include Brooklyn, Sandrift, Tygerhof, and this is where we're simply replacing valves, and that's a matter of taking out the old valve, putting in the new valve. But again, because we're working with water and it is unpredictable, anything can happen, but we do try and undertake the work as carefully as we can. There are other operations that are undertaken. We, as part of our water demand strategy and our water strategy, we introducing pressure reduction valves into our areas so that we can try and minimize the communities that are impacted by turning off specific valves, so that we can have a smaller community impacted by a potential burst as possible. And that's also part of our investment going into the future, where we are investing about 15 million rand into that program to try and save water wherever we can by investing in these pressure reduction valves.
Yeah, it's almost a case of rather, try and get ahead of the problem before it becomes a problem as well. I suppose that's the point of maintenance, is don't actually wait for it to break before you fix it, Zahid. I think it's great planning. It's, forward thinking. I think many people would agree. In those areas, very briefly, as I say goodbye, so water interruptions in the areas you've mentioned. What about water supply for them? Are we talking water tankers, or how are people going to get some fresh water?
So if the supply is disrupted for a significant amount of time, or anticipated to be significant, let's say more than 6 hours or so, then water is supplied through water tankers. But at the same time, we do communicate with our residents in advance to ask them to help store water as well, so that at least they have some access to water in their homes. But we're kept up to date by our councillors. If there are pressures, we do our best to make sure that water tankers go into the communities that are most affected, and more often than not, the furthest away from where the repairs are, because it takes a little bit longer for those pipes, as you've said, to be recharged and for the pressures to be restored when compared to being closer to where the work is being done.
Well, then, for the moment, I appreciate you giving us an update. Cape Town MMC for Water and Sanitation, Zahid Badroodien, making time for us this morning. So Cape Town, some parts of the city going to be affected as well from tomorrow for the next few days. So Simonstown from Tuesday the 25th of July, and then Brooklyn, Sandrift and Tigerhof, I'm not sure how I say that, from Saturday 29th of July as well. But I'm sure you can get details from the city of Cape Town. So just a heads up, there are going to be some water cuts due to planned maintenance down in the city of Cape Town.